That Jesus triumphed over sin and death so that our relationship with God can be reconciled, may be made right again. And that Jesus not only reconciles us to God, but he reconciles us to each other. He reconciles us to community. God is restoring us to how we were designed. That we're designed with difference, yes, but we were meant to be interdependent, that we need each other. The metaphor that Paul uses here is the body to describe who we are. Verse 12 says, just as a body, though one has many parts, but all its many parts form one body, so it is with Christ. For we are all baptized with one Spirit, so as to form one body. Whether Jews or Gentiles, slave or free, we are all given one Spirit to drink. Even so, the body is not made up of one part, but of many, he says. That Paul makes the case that we're many parts, but we're one body through Jesus. Yes, we may be different, but we have the same need. And that need can be met through only one person, and that is Jesus Christ. In our baptism, basically, it's a declaration of dependence now. If sin is a declaration to God that I don't need you, then at the heart of the baptismal vow is this, that God, I need you desperately. Jesus brought you back to God, and brought us back to each other to form one body. And so when Paul mentions Jews or Gentiles, slave or free, he's mentioning the most divided groups of the day. Now, in our context, it's pretty clear, pretty apparent where those divisions lie. Black or white, perhaps, Republican or Democrat, rich and poor, young and old, conservative and liberal. These are all identity markers that we use to define ourselves, or labels that we use to define other people. They're either inherent in us, or they're labels that we choose for ourselves. Nevertheless, no matter how different we are, there's only one person that can powerfully bring us together and unite us. And that is Jesus Christ. Our baptism now is our primary identity marker. It doesn't eradicate difference, but it highlights all of our common need for Jesus. He's the only one who could rescue us. He's the only one who could make us whole again. Now, this is good news. This is good news for our divided world, that Jesus is the one who can bring us all together. But just because we are baptized into one body doesn't make unity something that we automatically experience together. And so sometimes our old sensibilities, sometimes our old habits of thinking come back. So we need to understand what potentially divides us, which is our second point. Verse 15, Paul says, now the foot should say, because I'm not a hand, I do not belong to the body. It would not for that reason stop being part of that body. And if the ear should say, because I'm not an eye, then I don't belong to the body. It would not for that reason stop being part of the body. If the whole body were an eye, where would the sense of hearing be? If the whole body were an ear, where would the whole sense of smell be? Now, Paul takes the metaphor of the body deeper, with body parts conversing with each other, and they're finding ways to distance themselves from each other. And basically they're saying that since I'm not blank, right, then I don't belong. Or since he and she is not blank, meaning he's not like one of us, then she doesn't belong. Now, as you think about your life, as you think about maybe your community, who would you put in those blanks? In other words, what boundaries do you put up? What boundaries do you have that put people in and out of your circle? I want all of us to think about this. Who are the people in your life that you put boundaries, you put barriers in your life that puts them in or out of your circle? Because the point that Paul is trying to make is that it's impossible not to be part of the body if you are a Christian. In life, you can choose friends. In life, you can choose lovers. But you can't choose family, right? Many of you guys celebrated Thanksgiving and gathered with family, and you know this very acutely, right? There's some people in your family that come to the family gathering. It's like, oh man, I can't believe this part he's so different from me. He thinks so, this person thinks so off, so radically different than how I think. You wonder, how in the world are we blood? But this isn't by accident. This is by design. And if we go against our design, we lose out. When you distance yourselves from others, you're losing a vital part of what it means to be fully human. Okay? You lose out on the ability to truly see, to truly hear, to truly sense and perceive reality. But it's precisely the differences and the diversity within the body that enables us to see God and the gospel from different angles and from different perspectives. Alan Yeh, a missiologist, said this, that nobody has the full picture of God. And though every perspective might be true, each is incomplete in and of itself. That every cultural perspective is needed to fully understand this global God. As Paul says in verse 18, this is how God has arranged the members of the body, that he places people in your lives who are perhaps different from you to show you a different dimension of himself. And it's often in ways that you don't expect. Oftentimes it can be incredibly uncomfortable, but these are the ways in which God uses others in community to help you see a fuller dimension of God. Now, this leads to the last point. What practically reconciles us? We know what powerfully unites us. It's the work of Christ. Yet we know what potentially divides us. It's this whole I don't need you attitude. But what can practically reconcile us? Let's take a look at verses 21 and 26. The eye cannot say to the hand, I don't need you. And to the head cannot say to the feet, I don't need you. On the contrary, those parts of the body that seem weaker are indispensable. Now, if it's, again, indeed true that by design we're created differently but interdependently, we all need, including myself, a shift in both attitude and also action. That rather than saying, I don't need you, perhaps, may I suggest that we need to shift our thinking to maybe, I need you more than I realize. I need you more than I realize. Now, who do you need in your life? Maybe it's those people you least gravitate towards here in the church. For whatever reason. Maybe they're just different from you. Maybe you have a falling out and you have a conflict with that person. Paul points to the part of the body that may seem, quote-unquote, weaker. It calls them indispensable. Those people, those folks in your community that perhaps feel like it seems like they have nothing to offer to you, perhaps those are the persons that God is wanting you to pay attention to more. So take a moment to think about this. Who in your community of faith have you kept at a distance for whatever reason? It's no accident that he or she is in your community. Maybe God is going to use that person in your life to stretch you, to challenge you, and maybe even bless you through your story of struggle. Now, my experiences in the Taiwanese immigrant church is where I first learned how to be part of the body of Christ. And it wasn't without challenges and difficulties. There were many moments of discouragement because it seemed like the differences between language, culture, and generations sometimes just seemed so difficult to overcome. And I know I myself didn't help the situation when I came with this whole I don't need you attitude. And I confess that, and I acknowledge that I was part of the problem. But in reflecting on my experiences in ministry in the Taiwanese American church, a change of mentality, whether it be mine or anybody else, doesn't come just simply by showing up here on Sunday or even be sharing the same space here at worship. According to Gordon Allport, the originator of the contact hypothesis, putting different people together in the same space doesn't really change how you feel towards each other, unless it's an environment that fosters mutuality, increased trust, and understanding. We think that when I think about the breakdown in relationships that can often happen in the church, it often happens as a result of generalizations and oversimplifications that we make based on incomplete and mistaken information. But only when there's an ethos or a culture within a church somebody's eBay identity in order to relieve easy marks like me out of harmony. I felt like a fool, she said, but I didn't want to tell Spencer. The next time I saw his number on my caller ID, I didn't answer. I couldn't imagine him saying, "I told you so." Soon I was avoiding Spencer completely, and I started to resent him. Why did he have to be so judgmental? Why couldn't he be on my side? Why am I even friends with this jerk? Eventually, we had